Alright everyone, welcome back to Mr. Wiggly's Educational Facility. Today we will have a look at the clothing and armor of Alpha 17. We will also talk a bit about the different biomes and basically what I recommend, for dressing yourself. You gotta look a bit respectable in the apocalypse, and remember to stay warm, please. So let's jump straight into it. Alright, before we start off on, all the goodies of clothing and armor and mods, let me just talk a bit about the different biomes there's in 7 Days to Die. As you can see, we're kind of in a winter biome here, everything is covered in snow and that makes us cold. And there's the opposite as well, there's a burnt biome, there's a desert where you will be warm all the time. So clothing and armor is something that you definitely need to think about in 7 Days to Die. But a lot of things have changed in Alpha 17, so I'm just going to do a quick rundown on how the different things have changed, what you should look out for now, what kind of special clothing there is, accessories and mods for the different clothing and armor. So let's start out in the normal clothing section. Some of these clothes you can craft yourselves. The plant fiber stuff will be crafted during the initial quest you get when you first spawn into the game. So that will just use, normal plant fibers. Most players out there who has been playing 7 Days to Die before knows exactly what I'm talking about. But basically, when you spawn in, you need to run around and punch a few plants on the ground. That will give you plant fiber, like so. And this you can use for crafting, plant fiber clothing. And it takes 5 to 10 plant fibers per item, depending on what item it is. The leather poncho, however, uses leather. So you need to kill some animals for that. Or, just grind up some dogs, whatever. But when you find some leather, craft the poncho. It will give you some resistance towards the cold, but a lot towards heat. So definitely recommendable as one of the first items you get. Also the plant fiber hat, it's very, very cold to wear. But all in all, when we're talking about keeping cold, what you should do is wear light clothing. Some of you might think that BDU bottoms or shorts is the right way to go, but I actually find that the skirt is a lot better. It looks a bit silly, I know, but in a solo player game, you don't really look that often at yourself. I know some people play this in multiplayer, but if you ever see a fat guy out there with weird glasses and a skirt, that'll be I. I also like to wear the tank top with that. The bandana, also an easy element to craft. You can do that straight off the bat, almost with 4 cloth fragments. If you find clothes, scrap it. It might give you cloth, it might give you leather. When you have 4 cloth fragments, definitely craft the bandana. But all these items are basically items you can find out there in the world. There are more items than this, but these are the most common ones. Different varieties of the same stuff. The leather duster and the puffer coat is great for cold environments. So is the goth boots and the cowboy boots. Basically any kind of boots you find you would want to wear. And as soon as you have kind of adapted to your new environment, you need to look at how to protect yourself against the zombies. So how would one go about doing that? Well, there are several ways to do that. We have light armor and we have heavy armor. Let's start out in the light section. Light armor is padded armor, it's leather armor, and it's military. Now, military is seen kind of, as an end game item, so don't try to craft that right away. You will need chemistry station and workbench for that. And as it is now, it's pretty difficult to get that. So be warned. But the padded armor, you don't actually need any workbenches to craft. You can do that straight in your hands. As soon as you find some duct tape and some cloth, you can start to make the padded armor. And basically all of the armor items is some kind of headgear, chest, gloves, leg armor, and boots of some kind. The padded is pretty easy to make with just cloth and duct tape. The leather, however, requires 7 pieces of leather and 1 duct tape per item in a workbench. The military stuff, you can craft that with military fiber, but to make military fiber, you need a chemistry station, you need a can of acid, you need duct tape, you need scrap polymers, which is the new scrap plastic, and plant fibers, and an additional 3 leather. So it's definitely a bit more time consuming when it comes to the materials you need. But if we look at the skills you need to craft light armor, you find that in agility. To start out with, light armor will simply just be level 1. Level 1 armor does not have any mods. You need to get at least a level 2 before you start to get mods on your items. Or mod slots, for that matter. Without the mod slots, you can't apply any mods to your armor, but you know, it will still be pretty decent when it comes to damage prevention. And if you look at the stats for the armor, you know, military is clearly superior. Padded is kind of, you know, it's like wearing a pillow casing or something like that. I would suggest that you go for the leather armor to start with, simply because it's the lightest, and leather armor or all light armor will encumber you a little, but it will provide some protection against damage, but it will not protect you from the weather. And it's easy to repair, you know, just grind up dogs or a couch or whatever you find. Get the leather, get started on this, it will help you. So, onto the heavy armor. Now the heavy armor is basically iron. Heavy armor will encumber you a bit more, let's say a lot more. I tried the different sets and I say steel armor is, you can feel that. Your stamina goes down way quickly when you run, so I'm actually considering in my future, you know, playthroughs not using any kind of iron-based armor at all and simply just go with light armor. But the scrap armor, you can make that, you know, in your hands, in your backpack, with pure iron, leather, and duct tape. But when it comes to iron and steel, you will need a workbench. And it takes forged iron or forged steel, same amount, 24, and 4 pieces of leather per item. Now in the heavy section, I have also included the SWAT helmet, because the SWAT helmet is a heavy item. It's something you can find in the world, in the open world, but you cannot craft it. So if you go for some kind of heavy gear thing, I don't really recommend the helmets. I mean, they look awesome. Don't get me wrong. But the SWAT helmet is just a bit better in my opinion, because you can wear facial stuff like glasses and whatnot. We will get to that later. But if we take a look at the skills you need for the heavy armor, you will find that in Fortitude. And the same rule goes as with the light armor. You know, mod slots, you need to have at least level 2. Otherwise, it will only protect you. And heavy armor will not protect you from the weather as well. Now, my recommendations when it comes to heavy armor it's fairly simple, you know, don't. It encumbers you a lot, and it can be difficult, especially if you want to move around quickly, run away from bears or wolves or whatnot. You know, having heavy armor could slow you down, and it could actually end up being your certain death. And let's look at some of the more special clothing and armor pieces we have in this game. The Hazmat suit. I know some people like the Hazmat suit. I never understood that, because all it does is protect you against radiation. I mean, it's a hazmat suit. What do you expect? I mean, a ladybug would be able to bite through this. So, but the mining helmet, I do understand. This is one of the best items in the game, because it's basically, you know, a flashlight on your head. Press F to activate and you have permanent light. Now be aware that light will attract zombies as of Alpha 17. So you should probably not, you know, walk around inside houses in the middle of the night with this on. Unless you have some kind of death wish. I won't hold that against you. I don't discriminate, but just be warned. The night vision goggles, it's a difficult one. I mean, sure, you can see a bit better at night. You know what, let me just wear them and give you a quick example. This is what it looks like. And let's spawn in a zombie just so you can see how things actually look. Let's just get Darlene in here. This is what it looks like. So you can see the zombies, but when the zombies are up against buildings, they are not that easy to see. And I should also say that they changed the night vision a lot in Alpha 17. Now it's actually kind of two-tone. Looks like an old Commodore 64 game. And I noticed I get a lot more frames. Okay, let's enter. So let's turn this off, back to normal vision. And let's put that back in the box. Let's wear our nerdy glasses. The gas mask. Again, don't understand why it's in the game. I mean, it's there. Doesn't do anything. Just a cosmetic item. And you would think that shades and cigars and whatnot are just cosmetic items, but it is not. It used to be, but in Alpha 17, shades give you +2 to perception. A cigar give you +2 to strength and 10% better bartering skills. A cigarette, same as the cigar, just a bit smaller, except no strength, only bartering skills. Nerdy glasses, an additional 2 points in intellect, and a 10% XP gain. At 10%, it's not a lot, but in the early stages of the game, if you find these nerdy glasses, wear them. Additional XP is just the bee's knees, you know. It's the good gravy on a nice steak. You want the nerdy glasses. Lucky goggles, a better loot, and a 10% increase in crafting time. Ski goggles, 2 to agility. I mean, some of these things, they do a lot of things. And yes, I kind of skipped over the facial piercings, but that's because they don't do anything. They're just there. Another cosmetic item. It's there. Wear it if you want to. I don't judge. However, the risk of infection, I'm not sure if you could actually get infected just by wearing this. I haven't tested it, but maybe I should test that at some point in the future. But now for the exciting part, the mods. Mods comes in a lot of variety and forms in Alpha 17. And can I just say praise Jeebus that we finally have mods for clothing. A thing I don't really like though is that to make these mods, you need a blueprint. But blueprints are not that uncommon to, you know, but blueprints are not uncommon to the players who've been playing this game a lot. You know, blueprints is kind of what this game is built on, or used to be. But now the blueprints you need, let me just show you what I mean by you need a blueprint. Reinforced padding. You need a reinforced padding schematic per item. That's not good. I'm not sure if that's a bug or whatnot, but if we get the schematic, let me just go into the menu here and find the reinforced padding schematic. I take that. I can use it in a recipe. I cannot read it. I can't, you know, understand it. I can just get it and I can use it in a recipe and build one piece of padding. So you will need a lot of blueprints for this. This is no joke. I mean, if you want to build armor that is, you know, insulated and whatnot, you need a lot of damn blueprints. Almost dropped the F-bomb there. The same goes with everything. But enough about that. Let's go through what they actually do. Plastic plating and military plating. You know, it's the same as the padded. They give you better armor stats, basically. You know, it's just making your armor a bit tougher. It's nice. But muffled connectors and advanced muffled connectors reduces noise from armor. So if you're building some kind of sneak character, you want this. I'm not sure how much, you know, they reduce from everything, but I will test that out in the future. If I did the tests in this video, it would just be way too long. And the fittings decreases movement and stamina penalties from armor. So it makes you more agile when wearing heavy armor. So I guess you could go with customized fittings in heavy armor and not really feel any penalty. But I mean, just think about the agility you would have with light armor, right? I should not be the judge of what you choose to do. I'm just here to provide some of the information that might help you decide on what direction you want to go in. With that said, we have some insulation options as well. We have insulated liner, which will keep you warm. We have cooling mesh, which will keep you cold. And we have radiation ready. I'm not sure if radiation ready is something that's actually, you know, findable in the game, because it has no description, there's nothing. And I mean, it probably just protects you against radiation, but how many people leave the zone? I imagine at some point in the future there will be a radiated biome, but until then, it's just a placeholder. Now the storage pockets, these will reduce the encumbered sections you would have in your backpack if you did not unlock them already. So these storage pockets are exceptionally good in the early game. But then again, to craft them, you would again need a lot of blueprints. So honestly, I think the blueprint systems should go back to how it was. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. Let's see how it works out once some of the bugs and fixes have been implemented into Alpha 17, just so we know how we stand and what we can actually do with all this. The last item I want to talk about is the dye. The dye is pretty great. Let me take out a few of these mods just so you can see how to apply them. So if we take a piece of armor, let's just take a military vest. If we modify that, we have a modifier slot. Now this is level 2, which gives us 1 modifier slot. For every level it goes up, you get another modifier slot. I actually think I might have some other armor just to show you. Yes, I have steel gloves. So if you look at the steel gloves, you can see I have 5 modifier slots. Level 2 items only have 1. So it's that simple. Let me just equip these again. Okay, so here we have the military vest. We can put, you know, some insulation on that, and that gives us 5 cold resist. So if you wear this on all your armor, I mean, you're good. I kind of expect this new mod system to have a negative effect in the way that people will carry around a lot of mods. I mean, clothing is one thing, but there's also mods for the weapons, but we will get to that in a couple of videos, I think. Maybe the next one. But basically, you just drag and drop whatever mod you want onto the modifier slot, and it changes the stats. Easy as that. But if you want to color your armor, just drop some dye in there, and it changes to the color of the dye you put in. Fairly simple. Let's put that back. And let's return these in case we need it for a future video. But yeah, guys, that's basically it. I just wanted to show you guys some of the armor and whatnot, how you can mod it. And it's pretty easy once you understand the system, but you need to kind of, you know, forget everything you knew about 7 Days to Die before. The game has changed. The clothing has changed. The vehicles have changed. Everything has changed. Even the zombies. If there's anything specific you want me to have a look at, you know, in the survival guide, please let me know in the comments. I do go through them, and, you know, the feedback I get is pretty important for me, because if you have a question of some kind and you think that I might benefit from it or other people might benefit from it, you know, let me know and I will test it out. I will see what I can do. I'm not afraid to be an idiot, you know, and record it while being so. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.